So, welcome. My name is Rachel Burton, and I'm one of the dance faculty members here. And we're very excited to have in person programming for the first time in over a year and a half. I believe actually the last time we had in person dance programming was probably Nutcracker in December of 2019. So, it's nice to be back. I just want to say a little bit before I hand the microphone over. This is a project of the Ruth Page Dance Series, and just a little bit about the Ruth Page Dance Series. I can't remember exactly what year it was founded, but it was either late 1980s or early 1990s, and I was in college. Ugh. And the at that time, now Professor Emeritus, Dr. Venetia Stifler, asked for permission to name a dance festival at Northeastern after a very important Chicago dance pioneer, Ruth Page. And so we've been here in some capacity for all of that time. And it is my pleasure, again, to welcome you back to some in-person dance programming. And the dancers would actually really have a request. And I have dancers in the audience because I know, and I found you. And I made you minor in dance and auditioned for scholarships. So it's really much nicer for the dancers if people sit a little bit closer. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, they can really feel your energy from the stage. And then also, I will be back at the end. There will be a question and answer. We have a microphone set up. And so please feel free, don't be shy, to ask any questions.
Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes. Is everybody here? Oh, they're moving down. Well, while you're getting seated, I'll introduce myself. My name is Victor Alexander. I'm the artistic director of the Ruth Page Civic Ballet Training Program. Is what you're gonna see today. We're really happy to be back. Like Rachel say, I think we were the last dance presentation that we were here in 2019 with the Nutcracker. We hoping to be back this year. Hopefully we stay in track and nothing happen. Uh, Gladly, I think we are really excited that we finally can do this. As we extending our 50th anniversary celebration, we're trying to bring back some of the biggest thing that Ruth Page did in collaboration with Isamu Naguchi back in 1932. It called Expanding Universe. I just introduced myself. I just say I'm the director of the Ruth Page Civic Ballet Training Company, and I'm more than curious how eager you are to learn about the expanding universe and what we're doing here. And therefore, I'm gonna give the mic to Nejla Jakin, the guest choreographer that we have this year for the training company.
Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Okay, before I start, I want everybody to move with me because this is about dance and we need to get into our bodies. So, can you put everything to the side and just stand up with me? Come on. It's dance. It's and I want you to take a deep breath in and raise your arms up. Big, nice, big, feel bigger and bigger, expanding universe, and then down. And one more time, and take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And one more time, deep breath in, and deep breath out. And deep breath in, and now stretch up, and circle your wrists, and stretch up, and get in touch with your bodies, and then bring it down, and do a little wiggle and shake, and a little smile in your eyes and your face, and a little twist. And I think now, slowing down, you can sit down and we can start listening with our bodies. So my name is Nejla Yatkin, and I'm originally from Berlin, Germany, via Turkey. My parents are from Turkey. But I'm just so thankful for Victor Ramirez and also the Ruth Page Center for the Arts for inviting me to reimagine Expanding Universe, the solo that Ruth Page created in 1932. I think coming from Germany and knowing the German dance experience and history, I felt like there was a lot of interesting connection there with me connecting to the past. So the solo dance Expanding Universe was created in 1932 by Page and was based on a sculpture by Japanese-American artist Isamu Noguchi entitled Miss Expanding Universe. And that sculpture is still in the Art Institute. You can go and visit it whenever you have time. And this piece and this sculpture was created during the height of the Great Depression. So just thinking about that also when you look at the piece. The dance was a dynamic embodiment of the sculpture, Miss Expanding Universe, in a sack-like dress that Noguchi designed for Ruth Page, also in 1932. So the sculpture came first, and then the embodiment of the sculpture came second. So that was also an idea that was floating when I was developing the piece, that I wanted the piece start like a sculpture and then become more and more human. There is no footage of the original Expanding Universe. We have some footage from variations on Euclid, which is a reworking and includes the sack-like dress in the center of the work. But through reviews and playbills and personal correspondence between Page and Noguchi and artful photographs, I could recover, discover, reimagine Expanding Universe. For example, the photographer Lincoln captures the edges and folds of the fabric and the illuminated planes of Page's face as she poses. In Noguchi's sex, eyes closed, Page reaches towards another dimension, a bigger universe. In a newspaper clipping, she tells that she played with the connection between her sack costume and dancing in the sack. So that was one of her ways to get into embodying it. So where do you start with a historical piece like this? So me, I started reading about the collaboration with Noguchi and Page on the internet, in the archives. I found some film footage on YouTube on variations on Euclid. It's also in the film archives you can find. And visited the Newberry Library to see if I can get some more behind the scenes. And so I wanted to share with you the silent film Variations on Euclid. Can we play that right now? It's in silence, so there's no music. But I think in some of the reviews and commentaries it was described as a pulsating amoeba of outrushing matter, or something like a starfish and something like a woman. And during that time, Noguchi, as many other artists, were searching in abstracting the human form, and that also he wanted sculpture to shape space. And that was also how I approached the piece, sort of the body shaping space. And I myself, I'm very interested in how the body can sculpt or shapes space. So you see the centerpiece, that's the sack-like dress that Noguchi designed after the sculpture. And also both artists were influenced and had a relationship with inventor and optimist and futurist Buckminster Fuller, Bucky Fuller, and all three were very inspired by the new developments of our understanding of the universe. And even though the dance was created in the height of the Depression, the Miss Expanding Universe sculpture expresses optimism in the promise of America, a demonstration of the dynamism and seemingly infinite growth of the universe. And Noguchi said everything is expanding in spite of the depression embodied by the potential freedom of the woman. And I think Ruth Page also wanted to express hope with this work. For her, the expanding universe was full of possibilities. And I think it's very interesting that we are coming back to Miss Expanding Universe and Expanding Universe because we are also in this strange time of the pandemic, and times are sort of in this in-between phase. And also when you look at this ballet, you can see her dance was likely influenced by the Bauhaus dances of Oskar Schlemmer. Oskar Schlemmer was a German painter, sculptor, designer, and choreographer. He created a ballet called the Triassic Ballet, which was associated with the Bauhaus School in 1923 and was mostly focusing on shapes and designs, doing shapes and designs with the whole human body and also with the costumes that they were wearing. And I think Page spent a lot of time in Germany, so she studied with Mary Wigman and also had a partner, Harald Kreuzberg, dance partner that she worked with, who was also a student of Mary Wigman. So there's that connection there, Mary Wigman. And other influences were probably Martha Graham. Page was very different from Graham, who also danced in an elastic garment that stretched with her body, notably in her 4-minute masterpiece, Lamentation, 1930. Who knows Lamentation? Have you seen Lamentation? Yeah, many of you dance students know Lamentation. So it's similar, but not. And also Noguchi's half-sister was dancing with Martha Graham's company, and so Noguchi probably saw that work. And I also read that his mother was seamstress for Martha Graham, so she might have even constructed this sack-like dress. So where were we? I think like Graham was more focused on the internal and the pain and embodying grief with Lamentation, and Page wanted to express more of this outward energy and hope. In one of her reviews, I think she even made a comment, and I kind of felt like it was a comment against the modern dance that was happening, which was very like internal and suffering and grieving at that time, and she kind of deliberately went out of her way to express hope and outward energy. And in the Expanding Universe, Page's dance poses questions like, if the universe is expanding, then what does this mean for people in relationship to space around us? Can we expand how we see each other and how we move in the world? So after researching for a bit the past, I contacted physicist Daniel Holtz, who works at the University of Chicago, and he's an expert in the expanding universe. He's also works at the Fermi Lab. And I asked him, what do we know about the expanding universe today that we didn't know in the 30s? What is the universe expanding from and expanding towards? What is the color of the universe? what is the sound of the universe? Are we expanding on a subatomic level as well? Is the macro contained in the micro? If there are multiple universes, are some of them actually contracting and others expanding parallel to each other? So he told me that we know that the universe is not static. So in the 30s, they didn't know that it was growing bigger and bigger. But now we know the universe is growing bigger and bigger. The galaxies are moving away from each other because space itself is expanding. We don't know where we are coming from and where we are expanding to. We don't know what happened before the Big Bang. We could be infinitely expanding until nothing else is around us visible, no other planets around. Or we could, at some point, recede and contract back. So we don't know what's going to happen. But that's billion and billion and billion years from now. We also know that the universe doesn't expand from a center, like the starfish quality that she shows. It's like coming from a center and expanding in all directions. It is more like he explained it to me like a loaf of raisin bread. It's expand from all directions and it doesn't have a center. We also know the expansion of the universe is getting faster and faster. The universe is 95% dark matter, and that's what's expanding, the dark matter. And we don't know what that is. We just know it's expanding and pushing everything outward. We also know that the color of the universe is changing, which we didn't know then, over time. It started very, very hot, so very blue, and over time goes through all the colors of the rainbow and ends up very, very red, which is where we are right now. We're in the red zone on the electromagnetic spectrum. Like our eyes can't see it, but that's where we are on the electromagnetic spectrum. We're in the red zone. I think we see the universe, our eyes sees the universe as blue, and I think that's why also the sac is blue, sort of expressing what we see with our senses. So, as you know, dance is a very collaborative art form, and there are many elements that interplay with each other: movement, sound, costumes, lights. For the piece, I looked at color, at shape, at sound, and movement to make a connection to the form that Noguchi and Page decided on. But I also wanted to expand on it. Regarding the shape, I was wondering why they chose the starfish-like quality, and then was that conscious or was that unconscious? So the Vitruvian form that you see, like this arms and legs outward, this is like a 5-pointed star. So that kind of led me to search for the meaning of form in myth and culture. And I wondered if that was a choice, conscious choice of Page and Ruth to go, of Noguchi and Page to go with that shape of the star. The 5-pointed star then led me to the meaning of the number 5. So interestingly, the 5-pointed star and the number 5 was associated with goddesses, the goddesses Ishtar, and the parallel, the Roman Venus, and then also in Indian mythology, the number 5 is associated with Sarasvati, the goddess of intellect and knowledge. 5 is no ordinary number. It may be no coincidence that the body also seems to follow number 5. We have 5 fingers in each hand. We have 5 toes. We also have 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing, and thus also 5 organs that correspond to the sight, eyes, nose, smell, skin, touch, tongue, taste, and the ears, sound. And also 5 points with arms, two legs, and our head reaching outward, best demonstrated in the Vitruvian Man. 5 is also considered, I read that, in mythology is the symbol for the universe. So it was very interesting to me that the shape of the sack and all the 5. I also looked at representation of the expanding universe in the physics for shape, and how it could be best expressed in relationship to Page and Noguchi. And I saw many of the images of the universe like a funnel, and that's also how one of the costumes is designed, like the shape of the universe. And the front part kind of reminds you of Ruth Page's expanding universe costume, but then it's sort of extended and expanded on. And also the color of the universe, one physicist said, is beige. And so we went with beige and the color spectrum of red and blue, like from the beginning to where we are right now. In collaboration with designer Katrin Schnabel, she's also a German designer who works at SAIC, we reimagined the costume. And we started thinking about abstraction and how we can start very abstract and become more and more human in the form the costume is shaped. So we had some tries and errors, and I think we today finally got the costumes. It's exciting. I also decided to use 5 dancers instead of 1, and that was shaped around 5 shapes that loosely represented the different elements of spirit, fire, water, air, and earth. Or in Chinese medicine, it's wood, fire, water, metal, and earth. They say that any matter contains 1 or 2 or 3 of these elements. And so I wanted the costume and the dance started like a sculpture, carving into space, shaping space, like consciousness becoming matter, matter becoming form, form becoming human, and human becoming form again, so that the body shapes space and time. And of course, keeping with the idea of the expanding universe. The tempo of the dance and the shapes the body is creating is also accelerating like the universe, moving faster and faster until form again becomes part of space and floats into nothingness. So that's how I sort of imagined and started working on the piece. And then for the composition, which was originally composed by composer Ben Lamar, I asked him to shape the music after the idea of the primordial sound of the universe. Do you know what the primordial sound of the universe is? Anybody? In myth? Nobody? It's Om. Om is considered the first sound that ever existed in the primordial sound, the sound of mystery, the mystery of the universe. And it also has 5 parts. It starts in silence, which represents the mystery we come from. It has 3 syllables, and it ends in silence. The syllables are A, which stands for creation and the past. U stands for present and preservation. And M stands for future and transformation. And then it goes back to silence, which is the mystery of it all, which we then go to. So I asked the composer to maybe structure it like that, so that it begins in silence and slowly bringing in sounds from universe and some ancient sounds floating in and out, and also some instruments that are more ancient sounding in the beginning. And like the expanding universe, also wanted him to accelerate the music, and then end it back in spaciousness and silence. So the texture of the sounds includes breath and heartbeats, drums, and ancient and futuristic sounding sounds. But then this is all the elements, and most important, there's also the dancers who influence how the dance is shaped and formed and expressed. And I work very collaboratively with the dancers, trying to give dancers a space to find their own voices. For example, we started improvising with shapes in space. And so I wanted to invite the dancers now to stage. Dancers, ta-da! They're so shy. Are you shy? No. Okay, good. So we started improvising with shapes in space. And the shapes are kind of inspired by nature, shapes that we see all the time in nature. What are those shapes? Anybody? Can you give me some shapes that you know? So there's circles. There are lines in nature. There are spirals. There are waves. There are curves. And then we use the body, the limbs, and the joints to improvise. So let's do some exploration of working with lines, circles, curves, and waves, and spirals moving in space in all different directions. Here we go. I can sing and I can move. Or we can put some of the music on if we want to. So looking at the dancers, can you see some of them? We're painting and carving space with our bodies. With our limbs, you see lines, different directions. And then next we explored where does movement come from? It comes from where the joints are. That's where we can move from. So the joints are wrist, elbow, shoulder, the spine, hips, knees, ankle. And so we worked doing smaller movements, smaller shapes, and feeling like a sense of discovery of like when a child starts moving and discovering their limbs. So I want everybody to come up and try it. Let's go. We're dancers. Come up. Try it in your joints, in your limbs, and your head. Being inspired by the dancers. Come join the dancers. And we also work together in communicating with each other, like in partners. So let's go and find a partner and work with each other. Come, don't be shy. We're dancers. We like moving. Do we? Marai, you go, come. Yes. Moving your lips in circles. And the composition you're hearing is Ben Lamar's composition. This is the music for Expanding Universe. So think about lines, curves, waves, spirals, and then let the body take you there. Also try to think about tempo. Sometimes you're moving faster, sometimes smaller, sometimes bigger. Great, wonderful. Okay. Good job. Thank you, everyone. Now, isn't that fun? So now that was our exploration to kind of figure out how we move, and also wanted to see how the dancers are moving. And then next stage was like finding elements and shapes that the dance was going out from. And so we started with 5 shapes. Can we show the 5 shapes, dancers? So the first one is this one, kind of representing wood or air. And then the second one is like fire. It sort of moves like fire. And then the next one, it's like water. You see the wave in there in the arms and the way it flows down. Metal, very sharp in all directions. And then the next one, earth, very grounded. And that's how, and those were the 5 positions we started. And then from there we added elements to it, like a turn in there, or an accent in here, or a transition, a different transition, or circular. So let's do a section of the middle part, the fast one, just the beginning, when the drums start all together. So can we go to 6 minutes into the piece in the CD, please? We can do it all together. You can all do it. Come, dancers. Everybody has to practice it. We're just going to do it from the beat part. Can we go to the music again? And we'll stop it in the first jump part, okay? The big jump. Anybody up there? I can't see anybody. Oh, there. Can we go 6 minutes into the piece? It'll be a nice warm-up. Oh, okay. We can also do it just with no music, if that's okay. Should we just do it with no music? Okay, let's do it. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop. So you kind of get an idea of that. So we'll just, and I also counted slower than they are doing it. So we're going to now just show the beginning section of the piece with the music. Maybe that'll be easier. We'll get an idea, and then after 6 minutes, it comes to this place that you just saw. So, and also, when you look at the piece, the beginning is very abstract and kind of functions more like a sculpture and expanding in space. All right. And yeah, go a little bit more center. You can come and do it here on, they can see the shape of the sculpture. Like you see, the end part is very close to Ruth page. Now we can go to the beginning. We're going to start from the beginning of the piece. But then the shape is like the representation that they do in physics of the expanding universe, like a funnel. It sort of expands. Can we go back? And I'll say when to go when they're in places. So of course, under the light you won't see all of that. It starts very mysterious, and we can play the music now. hope you dancers come for your applause. I hope you come to see the rest of the performance this weekend. So to just give you a teaser, not the whole thing. So hope to see you on Friday or Saturday or Sunday at the theater to support these young artists. So we're now going to open it up for some questions, and also if Victor wants to come and join and talk a little bit more about Ruth Page and the Ruth Page Center for the Arts, and also the civic ballet which these young women are part of.
I think this is on. We have a microphone in the house if anyone would like to ask a question. Anything is fair game.
Okay, this question is for any of the dancers.
Yes, great. La 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 la. Well,
Any of the dancers.
any of the dancers, come on out, everyone.
So I guess my question is to you guys, is what was challenging or in the beginning you thought was challenging about the piece since it is so abstract? Because that's one concept that we are working on in class right now. And give me a minute.
Hello. Hi. I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but for me, it was a very big change of style, and we worked really hard on the structural, like the sculptural aspect of it, and the fabric as well. Obviously, you saw me in the cone. That was something I never had experienced. And as a dancer, you get introduced to so many different styles in choreographers, obviously, as you know as well. So it really was just kind of that collaboration of trying to understand what it was that Najla wanted, what we were trying to portray, what we were trying to do, like how to honor Ruth Page as well in the process and kind of have that come together was the challenge. But a good one.
Yeah, it's just such a big concept, the expanding universe, and how to make that come through the dancers on the micro level, but also on the macro level. So they had to be like very versatile and sort of the small movements, being very attentive to small movements, but then also expand and be expansive and big. Anybody else wants to say from the other dancers how it was for you guys, the work challenge? It is like history and present at the same time.
Yeah, for me, once it was hard in the beginning because I'm mostly like ballet trained, so the movement itself was just a challenge. And then once we kind of learned that it was like a very historic piece, that it's being set on us again from forever ago, it feels like. But really, that helped me personally to like hone into the movements and all the abstract like fabric and working with all that. Yeah.
You gonna say something, David? Yes.
Another thing is I think a lot of times students of any discipline, we get used to a very linear way of learning X to Y to Z, and using the concept of the 5 points and the 5 movements that they represented here meant learning in a nonlinear manner. As Najla was choreographing and we were learning and continuing the process, sometimes we reordered things because we discovered that it made more sense to come later. And it was all sort of more circular, coming to the central point of those 5 things. But it challenged us to learn not just different movement style, but outside of our traditional style of learning as well.
Yeah, and for me it's also because the music was being developed and the costumes were being developed, and they're a big part of this piece. It's not just a movement dance, but a dance that incorporates costume as a form of sculpture. And so I was waiting for the music to come together and the costumes, and trying to teach the dancers what I was seeing in my mind. So it was not an easy process, I must say. Anybody else of the dancers?
One of the things I struggled with personally with this piece was we have another modern piece, and it's more so about being human and showing like human emotion. And so having to switch over from being emotional to being like shapes and like portraying like a sculpture. I mean, you turn yourself into the universe. It was a big change for me. But I think it was really helpful overall because you just learn to use your body differently. And the more variety of things you can do, the more places you can go.
Any other questions? That was a great question for the dancers.
Hi, my question was, how do you know what right music to choose for the piece?
I worked with a composer, and like in the talk, I had him develop it sort of in the pattern of Om, where it starts in silence, it goes into the past, kind of bringing in instruments from the past, and then also the sound is accelerating, and then you have the fast part which represents the present, and then you go back into sort of transformation and the future in the soundscape. So it was originally created for this piece by Ben Lamar. He's a great composer. And I also didn't want to do like a Western classical. I wanted to sort of represent the universe and sounds from different cultures incorporated into it.
More question?
Anyone else? Another question? Okay.
Thank you. It was cool to see live dance for the first time in like a long time.
Thank you for the dancers. I think it's great for them to perform live in front of an audience.
Yeah, my question is the influence of like Oscar Schlemmer is really evident, which is kind of cool. That's kind of like somewhat of my knowledge of Ruth Page, but I was wondering if you could place her in a larger context in relation to Bauhaus, or maybe your own influences in relation to Bauhaus, because the Bauhaus thing, which I love, was like pretty evident here, so it was cool.
I grew up in Germany, Berlin, so
Cool.
I grew up in the Bauhaus. Like, Bauhaus was like in Berlin all around me, and I think Ruth Page also was surrounded by, because of the Chicago Architecture Institute here and the Bauhaus influence, also was very influenced, and she studied with Mary Wigman, who also worked with these artists, and with Harald Kreuzberg. Harald Kreuzberg also is a famous German choreographer and dancer from that time period. And so I think all that kind of influences came also in together in this piece. The Oskar Schlemmer, the Bauhaus, and Page's love for exploring different kinds of movement. I think Page is Ruth Page is interesting because she's not so locked into one style, but she's more of like a starfish where she reaches into different directions and incorporates that in her pieces. And I feel like I'm also somewhat that way too, having many different influences. Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I will tell you really quick. The training company is a program that we started 4 years ago. We are in the fourth season already. We really, I am also really eager also to continue Ruth Page legacy since I started as a school director back in 2013. I decided to open a program that allow dancers from the age of 17 to 24 to have a little, have a space that they can really use it for refine and make a really good, have a good, really good dance experience, so they can really pursue the dance as a real career. So this year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and then we're celebrating with Expanding Universe. But one of the most important things that we forgot is that what we hear today, and then we also owe to the dancers the introduction, right? Because without the dancers, we will not be here. It will be just Nejla and I. And then we're not dancing anymore. Nejla do, but I'm not. So here we go.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm Patty, and I'm from Mexico. Okay.
Hi, my name is Exodus. I'm from El Paso, Texas.
I'm Marissa. I was born and raised in Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm Paige. I was born and raised in Chicago.
Hi, I'm Sarah. From Jersey. My training was in Pennsylvania, so I was there for a while. Now I'm here.
Hello, my name is Devin. I'm from Hollywood, Florida.
Hey, I'm Mavi, and I'm from Venezuela.
I'm Madeline. I'm from the Chicago suburbs.
I'm Maria, and I'm from Peru.
Well, as you see, we have dancers from all over, and that is one of the things that we're working on. We're trying to expand our international connection, as Ruth did many years ago, and continue to embrace that legacy. But not just that, it's like also to teach our dancers, having the opportunity to bring to the stage all that interlace of different cultures and knowledge in dance, right? And trainings and backgrounds and all that we are lodging today, like diversity, inclusion. So all these kids are saying they are in the what? This is the 8th week already? 8 weeks. And then if you want to see what else really they can do, please visit us Friday, the 15th, or Saturday, the 16th, or Sunday, the 17th, at the Ruth Page Center for the Art, 1016 North Dearborn. We have in our fall showcase. We are also presenting choreography from Rigoberto Saura, a Cuban-born choreographer, Nelson Reyes, another Cuban-born choreographer, and of course, from Nejla Yarkin. We have 2 choreography. We have Cappadocia, and then we have Expanding Universe. Thank you, and really appreciate that you guys take your time for being here today. Rachel's all yours.
Well, help me thank the dancers one more time. Thank you. Thank you for being our first live dance event at Northeastern in over a year and a half. And thanks to everyone who attended and asked questions. Have a great day.